Hey everybody, Sean here, and today we're going to continue with the series about 2 ways to share the gospel: law to the proud and grace to the humble. If you haven't seen those videos, you can watch them in the playlist, How to Share the Gospel. And special thanks to Zach for bringing up this question. So you're sharing the gospel, and somewhere in the conversation they say that they believe in evolution. You may even find some that say that they believe God created evolution. So how can we respond? And we have to remember that all these little side topics are ways the enemy will use to get us off track from helping others see how serious sin is in God's eyes, and that Jesus Christ is the only solution to our sin problem. We as Christians know that God created the first man, Adam, from the dust of the earth, and Eve was created from the rib of Adam. So to someone who says they believe God created evolution, this should be all we need to show them from Genesis that God created us as humans, not something that became human. But to the non-believer, we need to try and speak logically to them. I deal with this topic in my ESL class with many students, and this is a topic that can go all over the place. So there is no one way to address this. Hopefully I can share a variety of different ways to deal with topics in this situation. To start, we can say, so you believe man evolved from a monkey? And they'll usually say yes. You ask, where did the first monkey come from? They may give you an answer like, another smaller animal. You ask, well, where did that animal come from? I joke with my students and say something like, so you believe that a rabbit evolved into a dog, that evolved into a goat, that evolved into a monkey, or something like that. And they say, yeah, like that. And this is just proof that people will believe something that is so irrational and unprovable just so they don't have to be accountable to God. Or maybe they say, the monkey evolved from the ocean. And I usually help them out by saying, like a fish? They say, yeah. I say, where did the fish come from? And most people will eventually get down to saying an amoeba or something like that. As usual, you say, and where did the amoeba come from? And you're going to get all sorts of so-called scientific answers, such as, the water created a chemical reaction with the rocks, or the amoeba came from the water, or any number of other man-made explanations. Now, one way to deal with this is in the usual fashion and ask, so where did the rocks come from? Or where did the water come from? And this will eventually lead to the Big Bang Theory that tells us that once upon a time, nothing exploded and created everything. And if you believe that, I've got some swampland in Florida for sale that grows money trees. Or if they say the rocks and water created the reaction, you can rhetorically state, so you believe mankind came from a rock. I mean, all we can do is try to help people realize how ridiculous this really is. We can ask questions like, why aren't we seeing rocks creating life today? And you can correctly state that there is no scientific proof of this ever happening. Or you can ask, why do we not have any half-human, half-monkeys in existence today if evolution is true? We can ask that when the first monkey evolved, was it male or female? Because we know that we need a male and female to reproduce a baby of the same kind. All we can do is try to ignite a spark of intelligence that will get people thinking logically. If they do believe in the Big Bang, we can use the most simple object we have at hand and ask them, if I told you that one day I was thinking, I sure wish I had an eraser, and then poof, an eraser just appeared out of nowhere, would you believe me? Most will say, no. And if they don't answer, you can answer for them. Of course you wouldn't. You would call me a liar or think I was a crazy person, right? As simple as an eraser is, it's still a very complex thing. It took great intelligence to figure out all the chemicals needed, how much of each chemical was needed, how to mix those chemicals, create a mold to make each eraser, and so much more. So anybody that said something appeared out of nowhere would be considered to either be a liar or delusional. And if we can't believe something as simple as this could be created from nothing, then how can we believe the whole universe and everything in it came from nothing? the planets, the stars, all animals, birds, insects, trees, plants, and everything that exists. We can also use an example from Ray Comfort and ask, when we see a painting, how do we know there was a painter? The painting is proof there was a painter because we know a painting can't paint itself. When we see a building, how do we know there was a builder? Well, the building is proof there was a builder because a building cannot build itself. And when we look at creation, how do we know there was a creator? Creation is proof there was an intelligence behind it because we know that nothing cannot create something. All we can do is hopefully get people out of their worldly mindset of evolution and start to think in a more logical and rational way. And as they are thinking about this, we can change gears and say, let me ask you another question. If you died today, do you think you'd go to heaven? And we can continue witnessing. I can only go into the very basics on this topic in such a short time, but if you want some really in-depth teaching on this subject, then I suggest Kent Hovind on the topic of evolution. He has many videos that will show how the textbooks in schools have been changed on this topic, and lots of other great scientific arguments, if that's your thing. Because science is more of an intellectual debate, but doesn't always follow the rational logic it presents. I like to say this is why it's called the evolution theory and the Big Bang theory and not the evolution or Big Bang fact. It's just an idea, not a reality. And just like we need to have faith in believing with God, we need to have even more illogical faith in believing these things. I know this was a bit scattered, but hopefully it's given you some ideas in handling this topic. As always, leave your thoughts and comments below, and until next time, take care and God bless.